the silent boy from Rosario. In a modest neighborhood on the edge of Rosario, Argentina, the afternoon air buzzed with the sound of bouncing footballs and children's laughter. Among them was a small, quiet boy named Lionel. While others shouted and argued over goals, Lionel rarely spoke. He didn't need to. His feet did the talking. Every evening, as the sun dipped below crumbling rooftops, Lionel would dribble a scuffed ball through makeshift goals made from soda bottles. He was smaller than the others, thinner too, but the way he moved made time feel like it paused, then sped up again. Every touch was poetry, every run a whisper of something destined. At home, the silence followed him. His family, hardworking, humble, and tightly knit, knew something was wrong. His two older brothers were already taller, broader. But Lionel, despite his age, was barely growing. His mother started to notice the worry in his father's eyes. A doctor's visit brought the unthinkable: growth hormone deficiency. Without expensive, ongoing treatment, Lionel's body wouldn't grow properly. The news felt like a storm swallowing their tiny home. His father tried everything: overtime hours, calls to local clubs, desperate letters. But football teams saw only risk, not potential. And yet, Lionel kept playing. Every single day. There was no bitterness in him. Just the ball, the game, and an almost invisible fire in his chest. He didn't need size. He had control, vision, balance. When he played, even the older kids watched. But none of that would matter if his body couldn't catch up. One day, after a local match where Lionel danced through defenders like shadows, a visiting coach whispered to his father, "There's a trial in Spain. FC Barcelona. They might look at him." It sounded like fantasy. Lionel was 13, quiet as ever, standing in line at the airport with a backpack almost bigger than his frame. He looked at his mother as she kissed his forehead goodbye, unsure if he'd ever return. His father beside him, hope in one hand and fear in the other. Barcelona's gamble. The first time Lionel set foot in Barcelona's training facility, he felt like a stranger in a dream. The buildings were clean, towering, and precise. So different from the chaotic joy of Rosario's street football. He didn't understand the language. He barely understood the people. But when the ball rolled toward him, something familiar returned. It was the one place where the world made sense. His trial was brief, just a handful of touches, a few bursts of speed, a flash of brilliance. The coaches were stunned, yet hesitant. He was still too small. His medical bills would be enormous. But there was one man who saw what others overlooked. Carlos Rexach, a Barcelona official, scribbled his decision on a napkin. "We'll take him. Barcelona would pay for the treatment." The gamble was made. Lionel trained in silence. He watched. He listened. While others celebrated goals, he quietly walked back to midfield. He didn't seek attention. He only sought improvement. But behind that humility was obsession. He would repeat a drill 100 times if it meant perfection. His legs grew slowly. His game, however, evolved rapidly. Still, it wasn't easy. The European kids mocked his accent. Some called him mute because he rarely spoke. On the pitch, they tested him: hard tackles, elbow nudges, cold shoulders. But Messi never fought back with words or fists. He answered with the ball, slipping through defenders like mist, finishing with calm no teenager should possess. At home, he battled loneliness. His father worked odd jobs. His mother and siblings were an ocean away. Every goal he scored carried not just the weight of competition but of sacrifice. Yet Barcelona couldn't ignore what they saw. His dribbling was unnatural. He saw spaces before they existed, defenders before they moved. The academy coaches whispered, "He's not normal," and they were right. By 16, he was training with the senior squad, sharing grass with legends. Ronaldinho took him under his wing, a silent boy guided by the game's loudest smile. "Play your game," he told Leo. "The rest will follow." But Messi didn't want fame. He wanted the ball, the net, the feeling of losing himself in motion. He didn't chase attention, he drew it without trying. The media started noticing. Who is this ghost-like kid? Where did Barcelona find him? But inside Messi, the only question that mattered was, Am I good enough to stay? The weight of a nation. By the time Lionel Messi turned 20, he was no longer just a prodigy, he was a phenomenon. Barcelona became his kingdom, the camp knew his canvas. With every flick, pass, and curling shot, he painted pictures no one else could imagine. Titles poured in La Liga, Champions League, Ballon d'Ors. Yet, with each rising cheer in Spain, the silence back home in Argentina grew louder. They loved him, yes, but only conditionally. In Barcelona, he was a god. But in Argentina, he was a puzzle they couldn't solve. He doesn't sing the anthem, they said. He's too quiet. They compared him to Maradona, fiery, passionate, raw. Messi, in contrast, seemed cold, calculated. And worst of all, he couldn't win in the blue and white. World Cups came and went. In 2010, they were crushed. In 2014, they came heartbreakingly close. Messi's tears on the final stage haunted fans for years. In Copa America after Copa America, he gave everything. Assists, goals, sprints that defied exhaustion. But it was never enough. Each failure felt heavier than the last. The critics sharpened their words. He disappears when it matters. He's Barcelona's hero, but Argentina's ghost. The burden became unbearable. After a crushing loss in the 2016 Copa America final, his fourth major international defeat, Lionel Messi did something no one expected. He walked away. In a short interview, voice trembling, he said, "I tried. I gave everything. It's over." A nation shattered. Streets filled with fans holding signs. Murals were painted overnight. Children wrote letters begging him to return. It was as if Argentina finally realized what they were about to lose. Not just a player, but a piece of their soul. Weeks passed. Then, silently, without drama, Messi returned. Not as a savior, not as a superstar, but as a man willing to try again, to carry a country on shoulders that had known too much heartbreak. This time, something had changed. He wasn't trying to be Maradona. He wasn't chasing approval. He played for his teammates, for the kids in Rosario, for that silent boy who never stopped believing in magic. He wasn't loud, but he was present. He wasn't angry, but he was determined. The crown and the tears. The night sky over Rio de Janeiro glowed electric. It was the Copa America final 2021. Argentina versus Brazil. The ultimate rivalry. The pressure was unbearable, the expectations suffocating. For Lionel Messi, it wasn't just a match. It was a final chance to rewrite a painful script. He wasn't the fastest man on the pitch anymore. He didn't need to be. Every step was calculated, every touch precise. Around him, younger teammates played not just with skill, but with a purpose, to win it for him. In the 22nd minute, Angel Di Maria struck. One goal, just one. The rest of the game was a battle of nerves, tackles, and clenched fists. Messi sprinted, fought, fell, got up. He missed a late chance. He dropped to the ground, exhausted. And then the whistle blew. Argentina were champions. But it wasn't until his teammates rushed toward him, lifting him on their shoulders, that it truly sank in. Messi wept, not just from joy but from release. Years of failure, criticism, self-doubt, all washed away in those tears. It wasn't just a victory, it was freedom. The world watched, spellbound. And yet, it wasn't over. One more mountain stood, the 2022 FIFA World Cup. At 35, many thought he was past his prime. But Lionel Messi had found something deeper, clarity. He no longer played for validation. He played for meaning, for legacy. In Qatar, he turned back the clock. Game after game, he dazzled. Goals, assists, leadership. He carried Argentina not on talent alone, but with wisdom earned through pain. Every step felt destined. The final against France was a masterpiece of chaos. Messi scored. Mbappe answered. The game went to penalties. Millions held their breath. And when Argentina triumphed, Lionel fell to his knees, eyes lifted to the sky. The image was immortal. He stood holding the golden trophy, his arms trembling, his smile soft, his journey complete. All the doubt, the accusations, the comparisons, They vanished beneath the gold of victory and the white and blue stripes of belonging. He wasn't trying to be Maradona anymore. He had become Messi, a legend of his own making. And yet, even in that crowning moment, he stayed the same. Quiet, humble, just a man who loved the game more than the glory it brought.